But I want the world to know that somebody took a blessing from all of us. And we will get justice. You just don't know how strong this family is together, how much we done lost. This will not be the last time you hear from us. We will get justice for you, Shakiya and Kyren. Kyren is her son's name. He was due to be born next week.
12 shots, one window, a sleeping mother. She never woke up. 2 babies lay beside her when the bullets came through the glass, a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old. Somehow, neither was hit. She wasn't as lucky. Neither was the baby boy still inside her, 2 weeks from his first breath. Police say whoever did this didn't guess which window was hers. They knew. 24 hours later, they had a name. Her ex, the father of the child she'd never get to hold. Then investigators pulled his file and found something that should have kept him behind bars years ago. This is the story of how a killer walked free and came back to finish what he started.
3 years old, just starting her life. She had a 1-year-old son. She had a 3-year-old daughter. They both were laying in the bed with her when this happened. By the grace of God, they didn't get hurt. But someone came and shot. We know who you are. We are going to seek justice. They are looking for you. Everyone's looking for you. You killed and took an innocent woman and an innocent baby. And it's no coming back from that. She was a blessing to my family. She was a blessing to so many people. She was very well known, beautiful. She was a beautiful girl, beautiful inside and out.
Here, we deliver clear, factual, and up-to-date true crime stories. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay informed on the latest cases and investigations. On the morning of June 16th, 2026, a 23-year-old pregnant woman named Shakiya Pridgen was shot to death while asleep in her DeKalb County, Georgia apartment. Her unborn son, due in roughly 2 weeks and already named Kyren, died with her. 2 of her surviving children, ages 1 and 3, were in the same bed and were physically unharmed. Within roughly 24 hours, DeKalb County authorities, working with the U.S. Marshals Service, arrested a 26-year-old man named Devin Anthony and charged him with malice murder, feticide, and aggravated assault with intent to murder. Days later, records surfaced showing Anthony had been indicted for a separate murder in Fulton County in 2021. A case that ended not in a murder conviction, but in a negotiated plea under Georgia's First Offender Act, reducing the charge to manslaughter and resulting in less than a year served in custody. This case sits at the intersection of several threads that news outlets and the public have focused on. The circumstances of the shooting itself, the relationship between the victim and the accused, the timeline of the police response and manhunt, and the accused's prior criminal history and how the justice system handled it the first time around. The shooting took place at an apartment complex called Woods at Peppertree on Peppertree Circle in the 3300 block in DeKalb County, Georgia. DeKalb County sits just east of Atlanta and includes the city of Decatur. Some reports describe the location as Decatur, others as unincorporated DeKalb County near Scottdale. These are adjacent areas, and both descriptions refer to the same general location. Pridgen's obituary lists her as being from Scottdale, Georgia. She had, according to her family, only recently moved into the apartment. It was described as her first apartment on her own, separate from any partner or roommate, a detail her mother highlighted as a marker of independence Pridgen had reached shortly before her death.
He shouldn't have been let out to be on the streets in the first place. How do you murder twice? Somebody dropped the ball. The system failed us.
Days before the shooting, Pridgen's family held a baby shower for her. She was roughly 9 months pregnant and had already chosen a name for her unborn son, Kyren.
All right, we're getting ready to turn this thing out. Baby shower time. Get ready to open up them gifts. Hey, mama and daughter, get ready to do their thing. Go ahead, Dina. Go ahead, Kaya, mother and daughter. Hey, listen, we welcome you guys. And we are having a great time. And you know grandma gonna get in the middle of everything too. Hey, I'm in here with y'all, ain't I? Lay back, woo, into the field that heat. We can ride the boogie. Shit.
Approximately 5:15 to 5:45 a.m., Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. DeKalb County Police responded to a report of a person shot in the 3300 block of Peppertree Circle. Reporting places the shooting itself at around 5:45 a.m., with the initial 911 response beginning slightly earlier. The shooting. According to police and family accounts, someone standing outside the apartment fired approximately a dozen rounds through the bedroom window where Pridgen was sleeping. She was in bed with her 1-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter at the time. Officers arrived to find Pridgen suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Paramedics transported her to a hospital where she and her unborn son were pronounced dead. Her 2 surviving children were not physically injured. Within roughly 24 hours, DeKalb County Sheriff's deputies, assisted by the U.S. Marshals Service, located and arrested Devin Anthony, 26, at a residence in Riverdale, Georgia, a city in Clayton County, southwest of Atlanta, and a meaningful distance from the crime scene in DeKalb County. The following day, Wednesday, Anthony made his first court appearance, where he was formally informed of the charges against him. Police described the method of attack as gunfire directed into the residence from outside, not a break-in or a confrontation inside the home. No other residents of the complex were reported injured. Shakiya Pridgen was 23 years old. She grew up in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and, according to her family, considered Charlotte the place that shaped who she was. She was a member of the Associate Reformed Presbyterian, ARP Church in Gastonia, North Carolina, and her mother described her as someone who attended church regularly. At the time of her death, she was the mother of 2 young children, a son who had just turned 1 and a daughter who was 3, and was roughly 2 weeks from delivering a 3rd child, a son she had already named Kyren. Family members said she had plans beyond raising her children. She reportedly intended to attend nursing school with the goal of working in a helping profession. Her parents, Paco Pridgen and Verdina Scott, both spoke to reporters in the days following her death. Her father described her in brief terms as someone with a good heart. Her mother emphasized that Pridgen had recently reached a personal milestone by moving into her own apartment, and that she had been actively building a stable life for her children, attending church, preparing for the arrival of her 3rd child, and expressing plans to eventually marry and settle down. She was survived by her 2 living children, her parents, and extended family, who have said they intend to raise her children going forward. Before police publicly named a suspect, Pridgen's family told reporters they believed the shooting was not random. Specifically, they said they believed the shooter knew Pridgen personally. The shooter knew which window corresponded to her bedroom. The shooter knew she would be sleeping there with her children at that hour. This combination of details, a nighttime attack aimed precisely at an occupied bedroom window rather than a broader assault on the residence, led family members and, later, reporting sighting investigators to describe the shooting as targeted and premeditated rather than impulsive or random. The family also said they believed police already had a specific suspect in mind in the hours immediately following the shooting before an arrest was publicly confirmed.
Shakiya, Shakiya, my angel, pridgen.
She was 23?
23 years old, a mother of 2 with 1 on the way.
And tell me about it was like you just had the shower was last weekend or it was coming
Shakiya
up?
just had a baby shower on Sunday.
Sunday.
She was a loving, sweet, caring person with a good heart, and somebody took the life of her.
The baby also didn't make it, so she passed away and the baby passed away. She was in the bed sleeping when she was hit multiple times.
So I see that's the bedroom right there.
Yes.
So like, do you think she was targeted in that bedroom?
She was targeted in that bedroom. She was sleeping with her 2 children in the bed with her. They made it. They was beside her sleeping when I got to the apartment. But I want the world to know that somebody took a blessing from all of us, and we will get justice. You just don't know how strong this family is together, how much we done lost. This will not be the last time you hear from us. We will get justice for you, Shakiya and Kyren. Kyren is her son's name. He was due to be born next week.
Shakiya, I love you, and I want you to know that we're gonna forever live your name, rep your name, and I want you to know that no matter what happens, we're gonna forever love you and take care of the kids. We're gonna take care of your kids.
She saved the other lither ones, right? Because she was.
She saved them. And put it on record, this was a premeditated. Whoever did this aimed through the window. Took the time to let off 8 shots. You didn't bang, bang, and run. You sat there.
They knew she was in the bed.
They knew she was in there. They knew where her bed was.
They knew she had kids there.
They knew everything. So this was a
They knew she lived by
premeditated
herself.
murder.
He know who he is. And we don't want to say the name of it, but
No.
you say you think you know who it is. The baby?
We know who it is.
Yeah.
Shakiya doesn't bother nobody.
We have a possible suspect.
Yeah, they don't know where he is. They're trying to find a
They're trying to find him and track him down, and when they track you down, you will get justice for you. Justice for Kyren.
Justice for Kyren!
I gotta go. Come on. I appreciate it, folks.
Devin Anthony is 26 years old. According to DeKalb County Sheriff Melody Maddox and multiple news outlets, he was identified as the shooter and located at a residence in Riverdale, Georgia, in Clayton County, outside DeKalb County, where the shooting occurred. Pridgen's mother told reporters that Anthony was her daughter's ex-boyfriend and the biological father of the unborn child, Kyren. She also said Anthony had, at some point, helped care for Pridgen's other 2 children, indicating an ongoing relationship or involvement in the family's life, even after the romantic relationship reportedly ended. Police, as of the initial reporting, had not publicly confirmed whether the victim and suspect knew each other, though this was later effectively confirmed through the family's statements and the nature of the charges. Feticide implies the death of a fetus the defendant is connected to through the surrounding circumstances of the case. Anthony was charged with 3 offenses. Malice murder. Under Georgia law, this is a murder charge that does not require proof of a specific prior intent to kill a particular person in advance. It requires proof of a deliberate intention to kill, unlawfully and without justification or mitigation, expressed or implied. Feticide, a charge specific to causing the death of an unborn child through a criminal act against the pregnant person. Aggravated assault with intent to murder, reflecting that the same act, the volley of gunfire, was directed with lethal intent, charged as a distinct count alongside the murder charges. He is being held without bond at the DeKalb County Jail. In Georgia, certain serious felony charges, including murder, are not eligible for bond determinations by lower magistrate courts. Instead, bond in such cases must be set or denied by a superior court judge, which is consistent with Anthony being held without bond following his first appearance. The most significant development in the reporting after the initial arrest was the discovery of Anthony's criminal record. According to court documents obtained by reporters, in September 2021, a Fulton County, Georgia grand jury indicted Anthony for murder in connection with the shooting death of a man. The case did not proceed to a murder conviction. Instead, Anthony struck a negotiated plea deal using Georgia's First Offender Act, under which the murder charge was reduced to manslaughter. A judge sentenced him to 20 years, with only 11 months to serve in custody and the remaining approximately 19 years to be served on probation. Georgia's First Offender Act is a sentencing mechanism that allows individuals with no prior felony convictions to avoid having a felony conviction formally entered against them, provided they complete the terms of their sentence, often probation, without violation. If successfully completed, the case can be treated for many purposes, as though it never resulted in a conviction. It is intended to give first-time offenders a chance to avoid a permanent criminal record for offenses that, on paper, can range broadly in severity, from lower-level felonies to, as in this case, an original charge of murder that was negotiated down. The practical result in Anthony's case was that despite having originally been indicted for murder, he spent well under a year in custody following the Fulton County case before being released on probation. Pridgen's family reacted to this information directly and pointedly once it became public. Her mother, Verdina Scott, told reporters that if Anthony had remained incarcerated, her daughter would still be alive. She argued that the earlier case represented a second chance that Anthony was given, and that Pridgen, as the alleged victim of his second violent act, never received a comparable chance. Her father, Paco Pridgen, separately questioned how someone convicted in connection with a killing could be sentenced to probation rather than serving a longer custodial sentence. These statements reflect the family's interpretation of events and their view of the earlier plea arrangement. They are not a legal assessment of whether the original sentencing decision was appropriate under Georgia law or the specific facts of that 2021 case, which have not been reported in the same level of detail as the current case. DeKalb County Police and the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office led the investigation, which moved quickly relative to many homicide cases. Police responded to the scene in the early morning hours of June 16th, and an arrest was made within approximately 24 hours, with the suspect located in a different county, Clayton County, at a residence in Riverdale, with assistance from the U.S. Marshals Service, a federal agency that regularly assists local law enforcement with locating and apprehending fugitives, particularly when a suspect may have crossed jurisdictional lines. Sheriff Melody Maddox made a public statement following the arrest, framing it as part of a broader commitment to apprehending individuals considered dangerous to public safety, and describing the shooting as having devastated both Pridgen's family and the surrounding community. As of the most recent reporting, police had not released the specific investigative steps that led them to identify Anthony as a suspect. For example, whether this involved witness statements, physical evidence at the scene, phone or location data, or information provided directly by the family. The family's public statements about believing they knew who was responsible, made before the arrest was confirmed, suggest they may have provided investigators with information pointing toward Anthony, though this connection has not been explicitly confirmed by police. The DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office formally identified Pridgen and confirmed that she and her unborn child died from injuries sustained in the shooting. The office indicated that a full cause and manner of death determination via autopsy could take up to 90 days to complete, and stated that such reports are not released publicly while a criminal case is pending investigation or prosecution. This is a standard practice intended to protect the integrity of an active criminal case rather than an indication of any unusual complexity in this particular case. Anthony made his first appearance in DeKalb County Court the day after his arrest, Wednesday, June 17, 2026. A first appearance hearing in Georgia is a preliminary procedural step, not a trial, and not a venue for arguing guilt or innocence. At this stage, a judge formally informs the defendant of the charges against them, informs the defendant of their legal rights, including the right to counsel, addresses the question of pre-trial release, though for charges like malice murder, magistrate-level judges in Georgia are generally not authorized to set bond. That determination is reserved for a superior court judge. Because Anthony faces malice murder among other charges, he is being held without bond, consistent with how Georgia law treats bond eligibility for the most serious felony charges. Future proceedings, including any bond reconsideration hearings, a grand jury indictment, since felony cases of this severity in DeKalb County are typically prosecuted through the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office in Superior Court following grand jury action. Pre-trial motions and, eventually, a trial had not been scheduled or reported publicly as of the most recent coverage. The DeKalb County District Attorney's Office, currently headed by an elected district attorney, would be responsible for prosecuting the case going forward, assuming it proceeds to indictment and trial rather than resolving through a plea agreement, as Anthony's earlier Fulton County case did. In the days following the shooting, Pridgen's parents spoke publicly on multiple occasions, both immediately after her death and again after the arrest and the disclosure of Anthony's prior case. Their public statements centered on several consistent themes, describing Pridgen as someone actively building a stable, purposeful life, noting her recent move into her own apartment, her church attendance, her role as a mother, and her plans for the future, including nursing school and eventually marriage. Expressing an intention to raise her two surviving children themselves and to keep her name alive. Directly criticizing the outcome of Anthony's earlier case and the fact that a first offender plea reduced what began as a murder indictment to a short custodial sentence followed by probation. calling for accountability in the current case. A GoFundMe campaign was organized by Verdina Scott, Pridgen's mother, to help cover funeral costs and support Pridgen's surviving children. A public celebration of life for Shakiya Pridgen and her unborn son, listed together as Shakiya Miangal Pridgen and baby Kyren Pridgen in obituary materials. Note, some sources spell the child's name Kyren, others Kyren, was held on June 26, 2026, at Gregory B. Levitt and Sons Funeral Homes, South DeKalb Chapel, in Decatur, Georgia. Local and regional news coverage, including outlets based in both Atlanta, where the shooting occurred, and Charlotte, where Pridgen was originally from, covered the case extensively, reflecting her ties to both communities. Several elements of the case have not been made public as of the most recent reporting and should be treated as open questions rather than settled facts. The specific investigative evidence, forensic, digital, witness-based, or otherwise, that led police to identify Anthony as a suspect. Full autopsy and cause of death findings, which the medical examiner's office has said may take up to 90 days and will not be released while the case is pending. Whether Anthony has entered a formal plea in this case, and who is representing him as defense counsel. Any history of documented conflict, restraining orders, or prior police contact specifically between Pridgen and Anthony separate from his unrelated 2021 case, a trial date or indictment timeline. Given how recently the arrest occurred relative to typical case timelines in Georgia's superior court system, which generally involves grand jury indictment, pre-trial motions, and scheduling that can take months, further developments in this case are likely to emerge over an extended period rather than immediately. Thanks for watching. Did you find this case informative? If you want more true crime stories, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.